everybody. Welcome to my homestead and welcome to my channel. My name is Jared, and a question for you. Is this real life? What is going on that's making it so that all these people that have been the longest in office, the longest living of their type, why is it that they all have to go away in 2023 and now 2024? What is happening right now? Yeah, so there's another one. There's another one. Okay, first, here's the Flood the Earth Challenge. I haven't updated it in a couple days. You know, I've been celebrating 2023 being over with and excited for 2024 and all the potentials. So I've my mind's been other places, but you know, we're at 7,538 copies of the Book of Mormon that have been shared. We're trying to get to 10,000. We're more than 75% of the way there. And I'm recording this on Monday night. So by tomorrow, hopefully by the next video, I'll have this all updated. So tomorrow morning, I have all the updates to look forward to, updating this tracker, which is always very fun, but it's worth it. If it gets results and it gets people to share the Book of Mormon, I will do it. Okay, so I got some emails from people. Got an email from Mary Rowan. Got an email from Mindy Henderson. Hey, Jared, just saw this. It may already be on your radar. Nope, it wasn't. But thought I'd send just in case. Here are a few lines so you don't have to click the link if you already got this. Well, don't worry, Mindy. We will be going to that link. And I can see the saguaro cactus in your profile picture there, which is really cool. Saguaros in the United States are only found in Arizona and just a little sliver of land in eastern California. So I don't know if you're from there, but that's cool because I used to live in Arizona for a time. And then got this from Anonymous. Ooh, the newest, longest serving monarch of Europe abdicating in January. Okay, that's the subject line. And then in the body of the email, after Queen Elizabeth passed, the longest currently reigning monarch was apparently Queen Margrethe. She hasn't passed away, but it is another turnover in longest of titles. And then there's a link. Please keep me anonymous if you use my email. Sorry. If you use my email, thanks. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you, Anonymous, and everybody else listening. Okay, so let's look at this Reuters link. Denmark's Queen Margrethe II announces surprise abdication on live TV. That is interesting, and there she is, looking very nice. Copenhagen, the 31st of December. Denmark's Queen Margrethe II, Europe's longest serving monarch, will abdicate on January 14th. Keep that date in mind because we're going to look at another email. Somebody pointed out something interesting about that date. After 52 years on the throne, and will be succeeded by her eldest son, Crown Prince Frederick, she announced on Sunday. Again, interesting. It's on another one of these things, you know, on New Year's Eve. You know, we had the New Year's address by Xi Jinping talking about Taiwan and making it sound like Taiwan's going to come under their control soon. And, you know, it's a time of year when things like this do happen. And, okay, so continuing, the 83-year-old queen who ascended the throne in 1972 made the surprise announcement on live TV during her traditional New Year's Eve speech, which is viewed by many in the country of 5.9 million people. Referring to a successful back operation she underwent in February, she said, quote, "The surgery naturally gave rise to thinking about the future, whether the time had come to leave the responsibility to the next generation. I've decided that now is the right time. On the 14th of January, 2014, or sorry, going back in time, 2024, 52 years after I succeeded my beloved father, I will step down as Queen of Denmark. I leave the throne to my son, Crown Prince Frederick, she said. The Queen became the longest-serving monarch in Europe following the death of Britain's Queen Elizabeth II in September 2022, which, by the way, it was one day before President Nelson's birthday when he became the oldest living apostle and prophet of this dispensation. Weird. In July, going back to Queen Margrethe II, in July, she became the longest sitting monarch in Denmark's history. What is going on? Just a little bit more. Denmark's Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen thanked the Queen for her lifelong dedication to duty. Quote, "It's still difficult to understand." No, I understand. I am right there with you, Prime Minister. What is going on right now? It is still difficult to understand that the time has now come for a change of throne, Frederiksen said in a statement, adding that many Danes had never known another monarch. It's the same thing as Queen Elizabeth II. It felt like she was going to live forever. And then it finally came to an end. And now we have a king of England, which is so bizarre for me. But now you have this going on in Denmark. Continuing with the quote, Queen Margrethe is the epitome of Denmark and throughout the years has put words and feelings into who we are as a people and as a nation, she said. The couple's two sons are Crown Prince Frederick, who will become King Frederick X, and Prince Joachim Frederick, or Joachim, I don't know how you pronounce it in Danish, or whatever, Dutch. Frederick married Mary Elizabeth Donaldson, an Australian, in 2004. Okay, so if you're new to this, you don't know why I'm covering this story. It's because starting in, as far as I know, starting July of last year, July, okay. This all started in 2022. Sorry, I was saying 2023. Starting in July of 2022, there's been this like list of people that are the longest serving in that office or the longest living that served in that office. And, or they were the first in that office or that position or the last of that kind, all these different things. Some of them are royalty, some of them officially royalty, some of them royalty in the pop culture sense, like the king of soccer and the queen of rock and roll. And I have them on here because, again, this is all about this old world order, the way things have been run before the millennium, how you have these worldly powers, whether they're actual powers or whether they're, essentially idols for people. Sports figures and music, people's idols, and then, so the way it's gone is we've had Japan, Soviet Union, the UK, China, Hawaii, soccer, the Catholic Church, with the longest living Pope and longest living nun dying within a couple of weeks of each other, because that's normal. Last king of Greece. We've had people that represent the judicial, legislative, and executive branches of the United States government. The most recent one before this video that we're doing right now, was Jacques Delors, known as the architect of the modern European Union and the longest serving European Commission president. He just passed away a few days ago on the 27th of December. Well, now we have Denmark, and Denmark has, they've been a player on the world stage and going back in history. Now, in this case, unlike these other ones, she is not passing away. Everyone else on here has died, except for her. But it's the same effect. The effect is you've had somebody in this position for a really long time. For some people, she's the only queen that they've known. Just like all these other people, she represents an era. For people that are now living, she represents an era in Denmark's history. She was the queen. We are approaching the second coming in the millennium when Christ is going to be king. And all these influential people and leaders and presidents and prime ministers and kings and queens, it's not going to matter anymore. There's only going to be one king. All of this is coming to an end. And I feel like that's why this is happening. Some people think it's silly, but I don't, because I feel like all of this is unlikely that all this is happening so close together. So from like the middle of 2022 until now, this is still going on. And how are you going to possibly replicate this again? There's not going to be another Soviet Union. It's going to be a long time before someone passes up Queen Elizabeth's record and some of these other people. So it's a very unique time when you put it all together, and it's very unlikely. We're not going to have another king of Greece. The last king of Greece, Constantine II, was in exile, and there's no more monarchy there. You're not going to be able to replicate this. So why is it that all these people have to die or leave their position of power in the years 2022, 2023, or 2024? And again, I'm just saying this in case there's new people to this concept. Jimmy Carter, the longest living U.S. president, is in hospice care right now. And he has been since February of 2023. So we're coming up on a year. He probably doesn't have very much time left. And I have felt that if this is like poetry, if this is a sign, he might be the last one of this series because he represents the United States. And because of the special history of the United States in relation to the church. I don't know what to tell you. Now, there's one more thing about this. I got this other email from Richard Campbell. This news article caught my eye. Both longstanding monarch being relieved of their roles. In her case, she's choosing to step down on President Nelson's anniversary as prophet date. Another interesting event with peculiar timing. So Richard left a link for this article, and this talks about Queen Margrethe II as well. I'm not sure the other person that you're referring to, though. You said both longstanding monarch being relieved of their roles. So I don't know who the second person is or if that's a typo. But there's one thing I wanted to read in this article. During her New Year's Eve speech, Margaret II, 83, said she plans to step down on January 14th. The date marks the anniversary of her own ascension to the throne in 1972, following the death of her father, King Frederick the Ninth. It was kind of ambiguous in the Reuters article, but this one clarifies that that's why she chose the date, is because that's the anniversary of when she became queen. So that's why. But the interesting thing about that is January 14th is when President Nelson became president of the church in 2018. So here you have two European queens. One is the Queen of England, or of the UK, and she died one day before President Nelson's birthday when he became the longest living apostle or prophet of our dispensation. And now you have this queen that's giving up her throne on his anniversary date of becoming president of the church. So now you have like two President Nelson specific occurrences of this, whatever is happening right here. It's weird. It's very weird. And what's interesting is that he's going to be entering his 7th year as president of the church on January 14th. Again, I need to do this just for anyone that doesn't understand. Okay, so let's go to this right here. Yes, this right here. Okay. So I have a visual. Okay. In 2018, on January 14th, he started his first year as president of the church. Okay? And then January 14th of 2019, he started his second year. And then so forth. Okay, you see how it goes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So on January 14th of this year, he will start his 7th year as president of the church, and he will complete his 7th year in 2025. So it's just interesting, that he's reaching the number 7, the number of completion and perfection. And we'll have to see what happens if something happens during his 7th year. But at the same time, he's also going to be, he currently is, and he will be in his 100th year of life until his birthday, September 9th of this year. And then he will turn 100 years old on that day. So we're in a weird and interesting time right now. Okay, so what could be going on here? I don't know. I don't know if it's symbolic. I don't know if there's like some kind of like practical thing that's going on as a result of all these changes, like when it comes to the transition of power between the pre-Second Coming world and the post-Second Coming world. But one thing I want to remind you of is what Sherry Dew said, May 5th of 2023. She said she shared a really interesting anecdote about President Nelson. Okay, she says, during a recent meeting with President Nelson, I had a chance to scan an extensive document that lists the dignitaries with whom he has met since becoming president of the church. It was an impressive list of ambassadors, religious leaders, and more. I asked the president how many on the list he had invited to come, and he said none of them. Quote, none of them. Each of these individuals requested an audience with the First Presidency at church headquarters. End quote. Surely Isaiah's prophecy that the Lord's church would be established in the top of the mountains and that all nations would flow unto it is coming to pass before our very eyes. One recent example, the ambassador to the United States from a country in Eastern Europe met with the First Presidency earlier this year. Afterwards, the ambassador told those hosting him at church headquarters that he had met with rulers all over the world, but had never had an experience quite like the one with the First Presidency. He subsequently encouraged a Muslim leader in his region to visit Utah to have his own experience with the First Presidency, which that leader did. In an interview with the Deseret News, the Muslim leader described his experience with the First Presidency as quote-unquote unforgettable and said he only wished he had come sooner. So there's this weird thing going on right now with world leaders, some of them passing away or giving up their throne. In the case of Queen Margrethe II, it seems like we're in some kind of transition, and undoubtedly there are good people in government. They're not all just bad. They're not all narcissistic psychopaths, although the majority of them probably are. There's going to be people that are left over after the world is cleansed of wickedness. There's going to be people in government. I wouldn't be surprised if some of these people are being inspired to come and visit with the First Presidency, because I don't think there's going to be like this, everything's going to stop like cold turkey as soon as Christ comes when it comes to the way that the world is managed. There's probably going to be some kind of transition, some kind of order to it. God is a God of order. And these people will probably still be influential. They'll be needed in their respective countries and religions in the true new world order when Christ comes. So you have people passing away that represent this era, the old world era, or the old world order. And then you have all these people that are just mysteriously requesting an audience with the prophet for some reason at church headquarters. Something is going on. Something is going on in the world. And I think it's that the second coming is soon. All right. Well, that's going to be it for this one. So if you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe, like this video if you liked it, leave your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Also make sure to share it, and I'll talk to you guys later.